This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
The death of my son, moving 3 times in 6 months, my parents' divorce, my husband's job loss.
I was, 12 weeks postpartum. My then husband came out to me as transgender. And just a couple weeks later, our son suddenly died.
They don't know where I am. And I feel like screaming, I'm Wonder Woman and I'm right in front of you.
You guys, we just had a whole conversation and then realized I wasn't recording.
Our grieving brains. But this is good because I lost my brain for a few minutes in that last recording and I sounded like an idiot. So this time I'm just going to make it sound really smooth. Okay, so Alina had asked for an update in my life.
How are you?
First.
How are you, Judith?
You go second. Okay, right now I feel like we are coasting this week because we have a bunch going on starting the 30th. We have our anatomy scan, which is keeping me up at night. I know that I text you, I text my therapist at 3 a.m. I have this vision. I didn't tell you this before, but I have this vision that the doctor is going to be like, oh, we have something to tell you. Like the baby is missing a hand. And I'll be like, a hand? That's great. What's in a hand?
Baby's alive though, right?
The baby's alive. The baby's breathing, just handless. That's okay. We can do with 5 fingers and 10 toes. We don't care that much about the fingers. And he'll be like, everyone else is devastated. And I'll be like, this is not devastating. This is a hand. Okay, so we've got the anatomy scan. I'm interviewing. I have 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round interviews in the works, but I don't anticipate on hearing from any of them until after Thanksgiving and after the 30th. My husband is interviewing, which is really important because that determines where we're going to move next. And he's been having 2nd round interviews and 1st round interviews, but he won't hear anything for the next couple weeks either.
Judith,
what else?
You are speaking so fast. I think what you have is fine, but just slow down.
Oh, sorry. Okay. We're planning our next move for the 30th. So basically this week I get to breathe and then starting the 30th, chaos begins.
Right.
So I'm just appreciating the calm.
Yeah.
What about you?
So for me, I think the biggest piece of news is that Chloe and I accepted an offer on our house yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We are going to lose money, all things considered, after we sell it, but both of us are just, really relieved to have this. Hopefully the inspection will go well and everything will go through with the sale. And, it's a big weight off my shoulders to have an offer in hand. So, and then I put up my Christmas tree. I was anticipating it feeling really hard and bittersweet to put up the tree, but I think because I just put the tree up and didn't do any of the decorations, I think maybe that's why it felt so easy. Like I know it'll be really hard to open up the ornament box. I made handprint ornaments with Quinn's little handprint last year. And so like pulling that out of the box is going to feel really sad. So I honestly, I may not put any ornaments on the tree this year and just kind of save myself the heartache, but I might open it up. I'm not sure. Anyway, the Christmas tree's up and it feels so cozy. And then I guess I'll talk about dating a little bit. So yeah. So I have been going on a couple of dates with the same person. I have a 5th date with this person tomorrow. I feel like by this point I've gotten really used to and kind of good at like the 1st and 2nd dates. This is kind of uncharted territory for me, like just seeing someone now multiple times, and kind of having to decide like on a date by date basis if I still want to see him again because he seems to like me. So,
he really likes you.
He does seem to really like me.
And I wonder why his friends aren't pointing out the red flags. He doesn't seem concerned. If I was his friends, I would be like, this is a bad idea. You are a walking red flag. Just a very pretty one, and that's the problem.
Wow, I'm so flattered.
Deceiving.
That's me, beautiful walking red flag. By the way, anybody know anybody for me?
Yeah. Maybe someone who else is a walking red flag.
I think we're both kind of coasting right now. We have a pretty heavy set of things upcoming. We have, as Judith mentioned, she has like her anatomy scan, which is anxiety inducing, and then Aiden's Hebrew birthday, and then
Hanukkah.
Aiden's English birthday, which to those of you who are not Jewish, you would just call that his birthday, right?
I don't think I would celebrate his Hebrew birthday normally, but he was born on Hanukkah, so it just feels like really special.
Yeah.
The calendar just highlights it for me. I don't really have a choice to hide it.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And then your birthday.
My birthday.
And then I have Christmas, which is going to be challenging, trying to navigate. Then my birthday, in January, which is also the second anniversary of when I found out I was pregnant with twins. So I do associate my birthday with him really strongly in any case. And then of course, just 3 days after that will be the anniversary of his death.
We are in the calm before the storm. So let's just appreciate the calm and enjoy this next week to the best of our abilities and then brace ourselves for the storm.
That's right. And I'm so glad that I finally recorded that because third time.
Okay, so I want to talk about the before and after Alina and Judith. Oh my God, was I supposed to tell the story?
Yeah.
With my sister?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't 100% remember it, but my sister and I
can tell the story because I remember it.
Okay, Alina, you tell me the story about me and my sister.
Your sister was expressing to you that she misses the old Judith, which I'm sure that that's a common feeling that the loved ones of the newly bereaved feel. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that my family misses in some ways the old me. I'm sure that my friends, see this current version of me and, I don't know if it's necessarily that they miss the old me, but I'm sure they recognize the difference. And what your sister was expressing, that she missed you, right?
She definitely says that she missed me, and I think she wonders if I'll be back. And I think everyone in my family, I have to say that in my family, I definitely play a role of fun and creating the fun.
You're the cruise director.
I'm the cruise director of my family, so I definitely think that my absence is felt. I'll say that. And I think my sister and I have been best friends for a very long time. So I think my sister feels that she lost a sister, and a support and also a friend.
I don't remember if you said this directly to her, but we talked about it later and you said that it feels so crazy to have people express, where's Judith or where's Alina? Because it's like, why are you looking for old Judith or old Alina? Like, this current person here is incredible. She's Wonder Woman. Like, why are you looking for Judith? Wonder Woman is right in front of you and look at how incredible she is.
Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said, and that's how I feel. You did such a good job telling the story. That is exactly what I said.
Clearly this conversation with your sister that you had resonated with me.
I'm glad I told you that because I clearly don't remember any of it. My brain is just gone, but that did happen. That's exactly what I said. And I think it's true. I feel that way when it comes to a lot of people from before, especially people who haven't been able to really be with me on the journey. There are a few friends of mine that have really been able to kind of walk through this with me, and they can see the transformation, and they see the Wonder Woman that it is. And then there are a lot of people, either because they live far away or because I have withdrawn from the relationship, because I needed to protect my heart, whatever it is, that they do feel, they don't know where I am. And I feel like screaming, I'm Wonder Woman and I'm right in front of you. So what do we mean by Wonder Woman, and why do we feel like we're Wonder Woman now? What are things that you do every day that you think are brave and courageous and strong? And why is it hard to hear other people say you're so brave when you think that about yourself? Because a lot of people say you're so brave. I had someone tell me the other day, they're like, you're handling this with so much grace, right? I still don't know what to make of that, even though I think it's probably true. So why does it resonate for us between us, but when other people say it from the outside, it doesn't?
I think when people say that you're so strong, I think what they're saying that in response to is usually me out and about, or like, me going on a date, me looking normal. And that's when they're saying you're so strong. Look at you go. You look so normal. Look at you getting back to normal. Look at you, right? Making lemonade from lemons. But I think the times that I feel really strong are the times where I feel like garbage and just sit with it. I have all practice now, just feeling terrible, and it's so hard, but just being able to sit in your own pain, I think is one of the most brave things that you can possibly do, and not be perpetually avoiding it. I mean, avoiding it has its place also when you just need a break, but I think really just like sitting there and like taking good care of yourself. Like I get back in bed if I need to be in bed. I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
I 100% agree. And I just want to add to that by saying I feel really brave and strong for putting up boundaries and saying, this is what I know I need. This might upset people. This might be hard for everyone. For example, this year you're not doing Thanksgiving. You know, knowing you're disappointing your family is a hard thing. I think you're very strong for saying to your family, I can't be with you right now, even when you know they want to be with you. I think that is more brave and more strong than when you put on makeup and do your hair and go on a date.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel for myself, I don't even really like saying to you, and you don't really say to me, you're so brave, you're so strong. Mm-hmm. We say, I'm so proud of you. Mm-hmm. We say to one another, you're doing a good job. We say to one another, good job listening to yourself. Good job identifying a feeling.
We'll literally say, good job getting in bed.
Yeah. We'll say, good job listening to your needs. Good job saying no when you want to say no. We don't really say to each other, good job for going on an interview, or, you know, I mean, even though that is hard, I think that the strength comes from those quieter moments.
Yeah.
To me, being strong is something is really, really, really hard, and you overcome it anyway. Every day I wake up and God wakes me up, or, you know, I know you have a different belief system, so I'm not sure what you believe when you wake up. But for me, it's like every morning God wakes me up in the morning. I don't have a choice. It's not like I wake in the sleep. God's like, do you want to die today or do you want to live today? And I get to choose. Like I wake up.
I mean, I remember in the beginning, so frequently waking up and being like, God fucking damn it, I'm still alive. Why?
Okay.
Why am I still alive? There's a book, we're really getting off topic here. There's a book that has nothing to do with grief or loss, but the title of it is How Dare the Sun Rise? And I've thought that so many times since Quinn died.
Yeah.
How dare the sun rise when my son is dead? And I am so sad. And I probably think that at least once a week.
What I think is really unique about grief, and what I would say to get back to Woman to Woman, that we can hold that feeling in our heart and the feeling of, I know I will be so happy one day because I have this perspective. Both. So sad and so happy. That's how I am.
Yeah.
We hold both those feelings in our heart, that every day is impossible and the sun rose again, unfortunately. And the same day we hold, okay, each day I get through, I'm one day closer to unspeakable joy.
Yeah.
That to me is the Wonder Woman-ness of grief.
Yep.
Being really strong in holding all those feelings. Do you think we're making sense?
I think we're a little bit crazy. But that's
my mom will tell us the truth. She'll be like, I heard you crystal clear this time, but I had no idea what you were talking about. I would love to share with people who maybe aren't grieving, what are some better alternatives to recognize the person who is now a Wonder Woman for going through this shit? What is a better way to make them feel recognized and show how much you care? Let's say that you're going to someone's son's funeral and you go up to them after and you say, I'm so sorry for your loss. In your mind, a good follow-up would be,
I'm so sorry for your loss. This must be so painful.
Yeah.
Must be so much pain.
And I think what would be even more powerful is 6 months later, if someone texts you,
yes,
this is so hard, a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you feel okay right now?
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Judith, say that one. I love that one that you pointed out right now.
I always say when people say like, how are you? Everyone asks, how are you? And I just have no idea what to say because how am I when? Right now, this morning, yesterday, in life? Those are all very different questions. So I like when people say, how are you doing right now? Or how are you doing today? Or how are you doing with regards to dealing with your family? How are you doing with regards to dating? How are you doing with regards to your pregnancy? Specify it, because I can't answer how are you, honestly. So that I find really helpful. And then the thing that I find has been the most meaningful to me when people, as a substitute for you're so strong, you're so brave, is something I actually wrote out for my family in an email. So they had it in front of them because they didn't know what to say. And I have tried this not only on me. I had a friend who's going through a really difficult time, and I tried it on her. I've tried this statement on so many different people in so many different cases, not just grief. And it always seems to help people feel a little bit better. Or it just validates how they're feeling. I always say, I'm going to say this as many times as you need to say this. I'm going to repeat this. If you want me to repeat this, just tell me. Okay. I care. I love you, and I'm not going anywhere. I will be with you for as long as this takes. And then I'll say, can I tell you that again? Would that feel good if I say it again? I'll say again, I love you. I care that you're in pain, and I'm not going anywhere. I will be here for as long as it takes. And I have said that like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, because I think what we're asking when we're turning to the people we love for support is, am I alone in this, or are you going to take a piece of this grief and carry it with you? Mm-hmm. You know, are you going to lighten my load by validating how painful it is, by taking some of that pain on yourself? When people say you're so brave and you're so strong, they're taking that pain and they're putting it all on you. When they say, I care, I support you, I'm not going anywhere, they're saying, I'm going to hold a piece of that pain with you, and we're going to do this together. And I have found that to be a lot more comforting. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I think you're so right. Yeah.
So I think that those are a couple of different ways to say what I think people mean when they say, you're so brave, you're so strong.
I just pulled up the first page of It's Okay That You're Not Okay by Megan Devine, which if you are a grieving person and you have not read this book, please go get it. And in fact, if you are the friend or family member of a grieving person, please also get this book, because nothing that I've read has resonated as much as this has. And she also has an amazing grief Instagram account called Refuge in Grief, which I will link in the episode description.
I want to read it because I think that this kind of speaks to what we're talking about right now. Here's what I want you to know. This really is as bad as you think. No matter what anyone else says, this sucks. What has happened cannot be made right. What is lost cannot be restored. There is no beauty here inside this central fact. Acknowledgement is everything. You're in pain. It can't be made better. The reality of grief is far different from what others see on the outside. There's pain in this world that you cannot be cheered out of. You don't need solutions. You don't need to move on from your grief. You need someone to see your grief, to acknowledge it. You need someone to hold your hands while you stand there in blinking horror, staring at the hole that was your life.
I remember the first time that I read that page of this book. I don't remember if I bought this book for myself or if somebody bought it for me. But I remember reading it. I was sitting in Quinn's nursery. I used to cry in there. Many times per day, but I got into a little routine of crying there every single morning when I woke up, and crying every single night before I went to bed. I spent a lot of time in the rocker, and I remember I was sitting there looking at his empty crib, and I read that passage and I sobbed because I felt so validated. And like sometimes that's all you need, is to feel like somebody understands.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of times where I feel so fundamentally different on the inside, like every part of my personality and being has changed. But from the outside, someone said I present very normally, and I think I present like I did before. You know, I feel so different on the inside, but I look the same on the outside. So this is, I think, a story of exactly how I know I'm different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I was driving home from the dog park. I got lost on my way home to somewhere I've been 10 million times.
Of course you did. Of course you got lost.
But eventually I made it to my block, and I pulled into the driveway, and all of a sudden I heard like a crash, and not from my car. Oh, thank God. But then I heard this crash, and my first thought was, someone is suffering. I need to get there now. Suffering people need me. So I went down, and at the corner of my block, someone had gotten into a car crash, And this woman came out of the car, and everyone was physically fine. This woman came out of the car, and she was young. She was like in her early 20s, and she was like, I've never gotten in a car crash before. So she said, I don't know what to do. She said, physically I'm fine, but I just feel really nervous. I told her exactly what to do, take the pictures, get the insurance information, call insurance. And I saw that when it first happened, people came out of their house, they looked at it, and then they went back inside when they saw everyone was physically okay. And I think that that's what I would have done before. Not that I didn't care, but I probably wouldn't have kept going in the way that I did. So after I waited for her to collect the information, and then she said that she had a roommate who was coming from an hour away. So I said, why don't you come and sit in my living room? I mean, I don't know your name, but listen, I can't leave you out here. Like, you need to be with someone right now. As I insisted she come into my house, poor woman. I was like, you need to come with me because I'm worried about you. And she said, okay. And she sat, and I watered her. I fed her.
Did you say you watered her?
I fed her. I wouldn't let her leave my site. I was like, you just can't be alone, And at the end, finally, eventually her friend came, and she wanted to get out of the house probably at that point. She's like, wow. She's like, you're so nice. Why are you doing this? And I said, because sometimes you just need to know that people care. I think that before Aiden died, I would have looked at human suffering and think, like, what can you do? Physically, they're fine. She'll be fine. And I think now I realize that not the solution, but the antidote to being in a tough spot is knowing that people care, and that knowing that people will just sit there with you for whatever feeling you're having.
I think my capacity for empathy for people who are really suffering has grown an enormous amount. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, I feel like I can really, even if I don't know exactly what their situation is, if I see someone suffering or, read about someone who's suffering, I feel like I really can empathize with that, because I have felt myself so recently so awful that I think my capacity for empathy is just huge now. That said, on the flip side, I think my capacity to pretend to care about stuff that is, not important, it's gone. My capacity to care about the little shit, it's gone. Like, oh my God, are everybody's kids alive? Like, why are we so worked up about this? Or like, I hear somebody complaining on the street about like, oh, they were out of stock on whatever. And I'm like, why are you even wasting words? I cannot empathize. I just can't with people who have, and obviously like, it's whatever my own judgment is, but if they have a dumb problem, I cannot help you with that.
I wonder if that makes us better friends or worse friends to others. I would argue both.
Yeah.
I would say we're better at being there for the hard stuff, but we're worse at being there for the everyday stuff.
Yes, that's probably true.
I wish I had more to give, because I think that the friend that I am to you, I was to other people, and I think that they were that friend to me, and I just disappeared. One of the things that both our friend groups have said to us about listening to this podcast is that it feels good to hear our voices.
Yeah.
Both of our groups of friends separately have said, I've missed you, and it's nice to hear you being, a person.
Definitely. Yeah. Yep.
I have this theory that I want to test with you, which is that I think one day I will be happier than I have ever been in my entire life, and sad. I'll be very happy and very sad. And I think that's really contradictory to hear, obviously. But I think that because I understand what really matters in life, the good days where nothing bad happens are going to be like the best days ever. The days where my baby wakes up alive and will be amazing days.
Yes.
I think we have the capacity to have so much more happiness because we've had so much more sorrow. Do you think that's true?
I do. I have so much more pain in my everyday, but I also think that even now, the distilled pure joy that I feel about the little teeny tiny things that are good in my life, like if my cat is like kneading on my belly, like I am so happy about it. Like the little things, like I think, like you're saying, like I think I really appreciate the littlest, tiniest things. And once my life is not such a fucking shit show, sorry, excuse my language, everybody. Once my life is not such a shit show and there's more things to be joyful about, if I am still feeling that amount of joy for those more joyful things, like I completely agree with you. I completely agree.
Okay, so I think that we turn left, turn right. I don't know, Alina, you're going to have a lot of editing to do with this one. But
hopefully by the time you guys are listening to this, you've just heard something coherent. Wish me luck in the editing room. All right, okay, guys.
So have a great day, weekend. We'll be back next Friday.
That's right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.
Yay!